What is up, everybody? Welcome back to 9 to 5 Gamers, and today is Top 10 Tuesday, and we're going to be going over actually more than 10 games, but these are going to be some great two-player games because Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and so we know a lot of you guys are going to be going out or maybe staying in. Staying in is always a great option, and maybe be playing some board games with your spouse, your significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be. And so with that said, we're going to go into some two-player games that you guys can play and have a good time with. Excited for this upcoming New Year's because we're going to be promoting the channel even more and hopefully getting up to that 11,000 subs. If you are here new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like these videos. It helps me out so much. And throw some in the comment section. Tell me what's your favorite two-player game that I should try with my wife. And so anyway, just so you guys know, another cool thing, got Agamonia in, so I'm going to be checking that game out and playing it. So that is not just a two-player game though, so but we'll see how it plays at different player counts. Right now I've only played it at 2, and we'll see what it's like at 4. But anyways, let's get into these two-player games. So I have honorable mentions, and that's because these actually technically play with 3, but they're really great at 2, and you should always check them out. And that is Skulls of Sedlec and Sprawlopolis. These are button-shy games. There's a lot of really cool button-shy games that play at 2 players. Skulls of Sedlec is a cool little, you're building like a little pyramid of skulls, and the skulls will score points depending where they're placed within that little pyramid of cards. And it's a very light amount of cards in there. I think it's like 18 cards. Sprawlopolis, you're going to build a big little city out there. This is perfect for playing on the table, and it's also wallet size, so it fits in your pocket. But you build out a little table, and you have some goals that you're trying to accomplish, and this is a cooperative game, so it's really cool to play side by side with that person that you love dearly. So that's that for those. As far as little box games go, you can never go wrong with some like deck building games. I think one of my favorite deck building games to play is always Star Realms and Hero Realms. I've got Hero Realms here. They're very small, but they're just a really fun, cool deck building game where you can deck build and play with the people, play with another person. I think they have a cooperative version of this, if I'm not mistaken. They have like a cooperative like campaign version of it, but it's really cool. So if you're looking for a cool deck building game, you can try out Hero Realms or Star Realms. They're like super original. And also Star Wars the deck building game. Star Wars the deck building game is amazing. You can find this at Target. Super easy to get your hands on. But it's a really cool game where you're playing a 1v1 versus your opponent. And one of you plays as the Rebellion, one of you plays as the Empire. And it takes place in the old Star Wars world. And you're just deck building, and it's got some pretty cool mechanics in there that are pretty awesome. And that is Star Wars Deck Builder. Now, got a couple of other small games here that I thought are really fun. So we've got Fox in the Forest. This is a trick-taking game for 2, which if you like trick-taking games like The Crew or like what's that pirate one? There's a bunch of them. But Fox in the Forest is an amazing 2-player taking game. It only plays with 2, and they also have a cooperative version called Fox in the Forest Duet, which is really awesome as well. So if you like trick-taking and you want to play a trick-taking game with 2, that's a great place to start. One of the most classic games that I really love is Jaipur, man. Like, Jaipur has been one of my favorite go-to 2-player games. I have introduced this to a lot of couples, and they have actually taken this game and saying, I want to get a copy of this game. Where can I get this? I've seen it at Target. I've seen it in a lot of places. Definitely find it online. But yeah, Jaipur is really cool because it's like a card game where you're doing like set collection in your like hand. And it's like a hand management game where you're taking all these different cards and all the cards of the same color and selling them. And the more of them you sell at the same time, the more money you get. And you get these combo tokens, and it's got like little poker chips in it. Really fun. Highly recommend playing Jaipur. The next game, these are going to be a little bit bigger box games. It's like the next size up, but Great Plains, man. Great Plains is a little area control game between the snakes and the foxes, and there's special rules on how specific pieces move. And so when you play this game, you're playing with these little hexagon tiles, and you can move across the little spaces. And it's really cool because the hexagon tiles, you shuffle them up and put them in facing different directions each time. So each map is unique and new every time you play it. It's just such a fun area control game. And then the gameplay's super fast. It's very easy to learn too as well. That's what I like about all of these, because these are the types of games that if you want to go out on like a date night, for example, you could learn the game ahead of time by watching a how to play video, or just going to Board Game Geek and looking up the maybe the PDF if they have a PDF of the rules. Learn the rules ahead of time and then just open this game up for the first time with your significant other. Thought that's a really cool game that you could play. I skipped one. How did I skip this one? This is actually one of the best ones, and that is Splender Duel. Splender Duel is just literally, if you've ever played Splender, it's Splender for 2 players. But it was done by, it's Antoine Bauza, no, Bruno Cathala. I always mix them up. Bruno Cathala is like the king at making like 2-player variants of games, and he's the one who did the 7 Wonders Duel, and then they came out with Splender Duel, and this one is 1,000 times better than Splender. If you really, really like Splender at 4 players and you really want to play it at 2, Splender Duel does a really cool mechanic with this little you know, you got like this board that has like the pieces on it. There's just so many cool new mechanics to it. It doesn't make the game super complicated. As a matter of fact, if you know how to play Splender, you kind of already know how to play this. It adds one or two extra rules that really are different than the original, but the rest of it's all the same, and that's what makes this game so easy to play and get your hands on. But it's a really fun game. That's probably, out of all the games, my favorite for sure. But there's some other good ones here. We're gonna go Lost Cities, right, by Rainer Knizia. This game, if you have not played it, is just fantastic. Highly recommend this, and make sure you get the Lost Cities, the card game. I know there's like a board game version and a bunch of other different things, but the Lost Cities, the card game, is amazing. Very cool strategy. Download the app. They have an app on, I know I got it on iOS, but they might have it on other like what do you call those, other operating systems, you know, like Android, whatever. But if you can get the Lost Cities app, it'll calculate your score, which is probably the hardest part about this game, is calculating your score. But learning how to play the game and actually playing the game are completely so much easier. Very easy gameplay. Your turns are very fast. Very strategic, but it feels like, wow, I feel like you know, you're doing a lot in this game, and it's really good. And it's just a simple card game. It's a great game. Definitely highly recommend getting a copy of Lost Cities. Another game, smaller box game, well, it's like medium-sized box, is the Land versus Sea, and you could actually play this at 3 or 4 players. When you play at 4 players, it's like teams. You could play with 3. 3 is interesting, but my favorite is just the head-to-head 2-player game, Land versus Sea. Really fun. This ended up being my wife's favorite game, and it reminds me a little bit of Carcassonne, but instead of just squares, these are hexagon tiles, and you're positioning these things and building up big plots of land and big plots of sea. And if you're the land player, you gain points by making big closed-off plots of land, and the same thing with the ocean player. The player plays as the sea. They do the same thing, and there's some bonuses in there. It's super fun, man. If you've never played Land versus Sea, this is a great game to get your hands on, and highly recommend playing it. Doesn't take too long to play either. Another couple of games you can try is these war games that are really good. We've got the classic Blitzkrieg and the other one, Caesar. Both of these are really, really good. I actually like both of them. I don't know which one I like better. I think Blitzkrieg is probably better score-wise, like just objectively speaking. But for me, I liked Caesar because I think it was the first one I played. But I really like them both. But I feel like Caesar's kind of like really fun for me. But if you like those are really good. They're not super expensive. Or you could try this one, which is really cool. Another war game that plays with 2 players. It's called General Orders. This is a World War II game. Really fun to play. Small box, kind of thick, but it's got some really nice pieces, like the component quality and everything they did in this game, and the combat and the way all the cards work and everything. This game is actually really, really good. Is a highly recommend this game if you want to play some other like war games and stuff like that. If you like those 2-player games, these games are great. They're all like area control, fun games. Another real cool game that you can play, a game called Raptor. A long time ago this game came out. It's not a very new game, but it still holds up. It's actually a pretty solid game, man. And one of you plays as the hunters, the other plays as the raptors, and you just gotta fight each other. Kind of reminds me of if you've ever played Unmatched, the Jurassic Park one with Muldoon and the Raptors. It feels a lot like that, and that system is like so solid that you could actually play that version. I think Unmatched is just a great two-player game that you guys can play regardless. But Raptor is two-player only, and it reminds me a lot of that experience, but just a little bit better for me. And I really like it because it's got the Vincent Dutrait artwork from a long time ago, right? So that's a great game you could play. Another great game that plays great at 2. You could play it with more technically, but honestly, I'm like, bro, whoever's playing Santorini at more than 2, I don't know what y'all are doing, but Santorini at 2 is phenomenal. Such a chess-like experience. This game, you can find it pretty cheap. And don't mind my copy, because my copy's probably got like a hole somewhere around here. You probably can't see it on camera. I messed up. I put my elbow through it on accident somehow. It's like I elbow dropped it. But Santorini, amazing game of just like trying to build up. What you're trying to do is build up these little towers. And if you can get 3 towers stacked up and put a little blue cap, you win the game. And that's the cool thing about Santorini, is that they have those little white towers with the blue caps on top of them. Whoever can create one of those first wins. But the problem is that sometimes players will be... Oh, actually, no, you don't. You're not trying to put the blue cap on top. You're actually trying to get to the top of the third level. If you can get to the 3rd level, the top of it, you win. But if another player caps it, then you can't go up there and you have to come back down. It's really cool, man, and it's really cool chess-like experience that I really enjoy playing with my wife, and it's become one of our favorites. And of course, if you're feeling like you just want to play a board game all day and just one board game, and you're looking for a good 2-player game, Star Wars Rebellion and War of the Ring. These are great games that you can play at 2. They have a War of the Ring card game, which is down here. I'm not going to pull it out because it's too difficult to get it out there, but there is a card game version of War of the Ring. But if you're looking for a 2-player experience that's a bit on the longer side, where you're just like, hey man, we're just at the house, we're just going to play a game and duel it out, and we're just going to spend the day doing that, then I would highly recommend those, because those games can take somewhere between 2 to 4 hours to play. And if it's your first time playing, you'll be playing for like maybe 5 to 6 hours, unless you're just really good at the game. But yeah, those are my recommendations for great games to play on Valentine's Day. I think the one thing I wish I had more of in my list is maybe more cooperative games where you play together, because I think that's kind of like the idea of like, you know, Valentine's coming together. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know how couples feel about, you know, destroying each other on Valentine's Day. But like, yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out if people like competitive or cooperative games more. But hey, you let me know in the comment section. Do you like playing competitive games with your partner, or do you prefer playing cooperative games, especially on Valentine's Day, because you're not trying to get into an argument, man, the day that you guys get some food and go out on a date and stuff like that. So anyway, thanks guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this list. Take care. See you guys later. Peace out.